Welcome to part 2 of local fish store being set up, progress. That will be the long wall of tanks. So you see here's the racks are currently set up and not finished. They still have to be painted and have tanks added to them. And then you see this wall on the right side. That will be a shorter wall of tanks and racks. This side is obviously 20-gallon longs at this point, and that what you see up there on the top, right there's the air line, which goes all the way around. All the way around. I'm not getting dizzy yet. All the way around, and goes back through the wall right there into the back rooms I'll be taking you into the source. It's actually where the air blower, all the noise that you're hearing is coming from there. This side, it actually runs into the quarantine room right here, and I'll be showing you that loop. Then it runs back around the back room, which I'll also show you that, the breeding room basically. And it's one giant loop, so that's pretty impressive planning there. Talking to the owners of the store, were saying that it was very difficult to find a large quantity of 2x4s that were actually straight enough to hold fish tanks, because as we know, fish tanks have to stay level. If they're not level, then the tank will crack and bust, and water will then come gushing out, as we've seen in some videos of people online. So who was it? I think it was King of DIY posted a video of that. So then apparently so it was, he said for every 7 boards they finally found one that was actually good. The impressive part of the planning is that there is plenty of space to access with your hand in here. And I was asking, well, what about the lights? The lights are going to go up right here, go flush with right here, which, well, you see there's plenty of space right here for the lights to go, be LED lights. And the LED lights will be hanging down and go right here. And so that way all you'll see is tank, the stuff in the tank, and then one airline going into a sponge filter, and the airline will be obviously coming from that airline right there. Still plan on having a display tank in the front on both sides, and then I think possibly another rack right there. The insulation panels I was asking, and that's for the online portion and the shipping business. In the summertime, obviously have to keep things very well insulated, so to prevent the fish from getting overheated and lower oxygen in the during shipment. So last time we were here, the walls were not painted. They have since obviously been painted. Looked like brand new walls when I saw them on Instagram. Looked really impressive. Looked like brand new walls. So our next take is the quarantine room. They do plan on keeping a quarantine set up for approximately about 2 weeks. So here's quarantine racks. As you see, there's the airline comes in right there, and then goes all the way around, and then goes back to the back room at that point. So there's the back room once again. Here are the racks for the quarantine, and this is just a display thing at this point. I don't think these are actually in quarantine. I think these are, it looks like some, here you go, fish people. There we go. So that's what that is. Put some tanks. So we planned on painting 3 sides, so one back side and then right side for quarantine, to keep the fish as they come in as low stress as possible. And then the airline will be coming down from there as well in here. So pretty impressive. I'm just super impressed with the planning that it took for this to be set up with all this airline. I said it was kind of like a this video game that I used to play and how you had to have things completely set up. And by the way, a little side distraction notice, a little scroll moment. I don't know that this is a 20-gallon long glass aquarium right here. It's pretty impressive. I just thought that was funny. But yes, this will be the quarantine room where they'll keep the fish in quarantine for about 2 weeks. And bear with me, the next room is very noisy because of the airline. So I'll try to be as loud as possible, but that's the exciting room. It's more so the visual of the breeding room is the main thing. I'll be pointing out in advance, just so you hear it here instead of dealing with all the airline noise, is the LED lighting to grow plants. He said he's been using it for years now, and it works, and the really important parts about that. So that's what we'll be going through next. So there's the airline bleeder right there. But anyways, the tanks, some mystery snails. These are his cherries that he's been breeding. And these are ones he got from the wholesaler. Quite a difference. Same shrimp, but look at the difference. I mean, in here it's an obvious difference between the male and the female. And here, from the wholesaler, it's so difficult to pick out to be able to tell them. Now, part of it is because of the light-colored sand, but still, like, look at his quality of his breeding. It's just super impressive. Super impressive. Here, I think he said that these were blue velvets. I forget. Some more snails, of course. Of course, you'll notice the sponge filters. Some endlers, guppies in here, some different grades of endlers and different species as well. He's had to cull quite a few of the endlers in here. Obviously, they've already had some fry, so they're doing pretty well in here. Some water lettuce, some dwarf water lettuce on top, and here's the, sorry my finger there, here's the lighting I was telling you about, the soft white and the bright white. Some tiger barbs. Hope y'all recognize these guppies here. These are the males I had in my bachelor pad tank. I walked up like, those look kind of familiar. And turned out they were the ones. And those are the preceding some sponge filters here. Some long fendanios. Really impressive. Just look how clean these tanks. Look how high quality the water is here. Some platies, and then the next some anacris. Wait, and then one's empty. This huge sponge box filters. That's fine. Then the some platy fry in here, and this is a female guppy. Look at these albino cribs. I was super impressed when I saw these. Albino cribensis, super impressive. Here's some regular cribs. This is what happens when you get two cribs together. They make this way happen. There's a male right there, I would think. See, there's the male there getting ready for breeding with the albino one. There's the female one. She's getting ready for breeding the next week or so. There's some mosquito fish. They look like some huge guppies. I can't really tell right now at this point. And then here are some more guppies and some albino cories and keeping the substrate clean. Nice. And but anyways, that's it for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3. It'll be a huge improvement, I'm sure. If it's anywhere close to as big as what the difference was between parts 1 and 2 on this one, it'll be amazing. Having to go through the whole process of dealing with a bunch of things you would never think of, you know, from the 2x4s to the paint to the flooring. You can't have slick flooring because in case the water spills. Got to have a secure stand to make sure that they're secure up against there. Got to have the right amount of access for to be able to reach through to them. I mean, just so many little things that the average person wouldn't think about. I mean, the biggest thing I was super impressed with, like I said, is this airline. Here you see the airline coming off of the main airline here, and Notice some of them are open because the air pump is rated for such a high amount that if they kept too much of it closed, it would actually cause the motor to burn up, and it would cause the pressure to get so high in the airline here that it would actually burst. So keep some of the lines open, and they also keep a bleeder, which is that pink noodle over there. Keep that going for now until they get this thing fully stocked with all the tanks. So stay tuned for part 3, and hope you enjoyed this. I'm super excited about this. A new local fish store in Richmond is going to be a great thing. So stay tuned and keep busy.